China has announced a new step in urbanization. The government will invest $162 billion to redevelop poor shantytowns this year. The measure will affect nearly 5 million households, and the money will go towards building new transport links and easing housing rules. Last year, the country spent more than $80 billion on subsidized urban housing. China plans to increase from 54% to 60% the amount of its population in the urban areas by the year 2020. Now, as the cities grow, leaders are looking to one U.S. city for advice and inspiration. Roza Kazan reports from Chicago.
The third largest city in the United States, renowned worldwide for its architecture, Chicago also offers lessons in rapid urbanization. It grew from a town of 4,000 people in the 1840s to over 2 million in just 60 years.
No city in the world had seen that level of growth and that speed of growth before.
The modern equivalent, geographers say, is the dizzying urban growth of China. So perhaps it's not surprising that China, the boom nation of the 21st century, is turning to Chicago, America's boom city of the late 19th, early 20th century, as China builds its urban dreams.
This is near Beijing. This is in a suburb north.
Christopher Grosbeck is the principal of a leading architecture firm in Chicago. He says 40% of their business now comes from China. The firm employs Chinese staff, has offices in Beijing and Shanghai, and is working on some 20 different projects in China, including this 1.8 million square feet new material research and development lab in Beijing. Grosbeck says China is seeking Chicago's expertise in both design and urban planning to make its cities more than just residential high-rises.
Many times the developers will get a piece of land. The government will say, yes, you can use this, we'll give you this zoning, but give me a 5-star hotel, give me an office building, give me some retail. You have to build that. The government tries to make sure that in each one of these developments that there's some sense of neighborhood, some sense of connection.
And it is a win-win. China's urban boom has thrown Chicago architects a lifeline.
Things were drying up in America. Luckily, we were able to go to China and do larger projects than we never would be able to do in America, and larger scale projects.
Professor Haig believes beyond design, Chinese cities can also learn from Chicago's mistakes, like the dismantling of its public transport system in the 1950s, which led to pollution and traffic.
I think China really has to think about how to maximize its public transportation system, how to persuade people to not use cars.
That may be difficult, as China is now the world's largest car market. But like Chicago more than a century ago, Haig says, China has a rare opportunity to shape a new urban future for itself and the world. Roza Kazan, CCTV, Chicago.